All right, to Mom Harris and the 50-plus club of the Allegheny East Conference. Mom Harris and Mom Gwen Norwood ran a 50-plus wellness club in the Allegheny East Conference for at least 15 plus years. To Miss Dawson, to Sister Dawson, to Jaria, to all of the girls, all of the family up at the Voice in the Wilderness Mission, to the legacy of the King, Dr. Dawson, and how he saved my life multiple times and through multiple cleanses, and with the amount of information that Dr. Dawson and Sister Dawson imparted into my life when I had two illnesses. First was Bell's palsy, and the second was an aortic and a splenic aneurysm, two aneurysms simultaneously, due to excessively high blood pressure. That is the Voice in the Wilderness Mission. I'm on record, is the greatest wellness facility in the world. To my company, I.T.B. Break the Cycle LLC, who specialize in life-saving. We've been doing a literal lifesaver academy, a lifesaver university in Orlando, Florida since 2009, competing in CPR and life-saving Olympics and Games since 2009, and since my nephew 2 years ago, Sean Hackett, had a traumatic brain injury and lost his life in Miami, Florida. Now we are taking our Coast Guard life-saving. We are adding a military component to patrol and secure our own coasts wherever we vacation in the world. We will have a life-saving. No one of our children will ever be at the mercy and the hands of capitalistic businesses or inferior third world healthcare professionals. We are taking the lead in the 8 laws of health that was revealed to the world by William Foy, a free in the 1820s and 30s. 100 years before the Nation of Islam run around here talking about a health consciousness. 40 years before there was even a Seventh-day Adventist church with their Florida hospital system and Advent health system in their Loma Linda. 20-30 years there is William Foy, whose document is going all around North America. So much so that it led to what we're launching here today. A yacht club and spa, a the greatest all-natural wellness medical spa, medical facility, medical treatment in the world. William Foy then inspired another woman, 2 women. We're going to focus on Anna Knight from Mississippi. Anna Knight from Mississippi created schools on the land to teach people the medical wellness long before a Dr. Sebi. Everything that Dr. Sebi got, he stole from William Ford. Everything that Seventh-day Adventists teach, they stole from William Ford. The whole world's medical establishment that is on wellness and eating plant-based, no one in the world was plant-based. They all ate everything. Europeans, Africans, everybody. Nobody was plant-based. Nobody was on wellness until William Ford. Then Anna Knight begins, she's down in Mississippi creating schools and teaching people. This is long before y'all had a public school system. You didn't have a public school system until the 1917, 1920s, 1924. This is 100 years before your public school system. Anna Knight's teaching all throughout the South, all throughout. There is another man by the name of John Horse that controls John Thoroughbred. God's son, John Thoroughbred Revelation. John Thoroughbred Revelation. They try to call him John Horse. And they try and say that he has a connection to black Seminoles. First of all, how are there black Seminoles? They trying to tell you that the people that they're trying to sell you as Indians are really black Africans that's calling themselves Indians when they get here. But after they got here and the Europeans turned on them, they fled as refugees to the safe haven of John Thoroughbred in Florida. And so because John Thoroughbred has all of the South on lock, Anna Knight, when she gets the messages from William Ford, has 3 visions in the 1830s about the final coming back of the Creator. He was revealed in the United States only in the 1820s and 30s. 3 separate visions that he went telling everybody about what the world looked like, about what it would take to how you needed to change your diet now and able to be in that number that will go to the kingdom. It was all about the prophecy that says in 2300 days the sanctuary will be cleansed. So his message was, it's time to clean the sanctuary now. It's time to fulfill the last and final time prophecy in Daniel and Revelation about the sanctuary being cleansed. And so it was a health movement that they erased in order to extend the life of the Europeans and the Africans trying to take the land, and to exterminate the population that was here and has the knowledge so they could steal the knowledge and take it. And that's exactly what they did. But because of the internet, it comes out William Ford's 3 visions. And then there was a movement called the Morning Star, the Bright and Morning Star, after Anna Knight starts teaching a medical wellness health school all throughout Mississippi, all through the South. This is Houston, Texas. This is Florida. This is Alabama. This is Georgia. This is North Carolina, South Carolina. None of those were states in the colonies up north. This whole region down here, you had these individuals preparing the people to cleanse their sanctuaries. And then William Ford and his wife and a man that created a magazine called Message Magazine to raise money and funds to be able to take this and put a standalone hospital that she was teaching onto a yacht and onto a boat and sail up and down the Mississippi River from Texas all the way up to the Great Lakes, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois, Michigan, St. Louis, Ohio, up and down the Mississippi River, up and down the Mississippi River, 1820s, 1830s, 1840s, 1850s, the Brighton Morning Star, a wellness yacht club. Do you know what happened? They put in the black codes. That's when they created Washington, D.C. in 1871, and they forbid people of color to write books, to incorporate, to create more institutions, more schools, more. William Foy was a person of color. Anna Knight was a person of color. The young man that had the boat was a person of color. So then they put in the black codes. They create Washington, D.C. to prevent our people from extending their lives and cleansing the sanctuary. And then they put in a counterfeit, poisonous medical system that you have today. Then when the civil rights movement comes along, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a queen that raised me, a queen that intervened for Craig Morgan and myself in the 1991-1992 school year, Dean Green. We had gotten expelled from Pine Forge Academy. Dean Green looked at the population of Pine Forge Academy, looked at us, and sat in Dean's Council and said, it's no way. The assets that they bring to this student body, it's no way you're going to expel those two. Dean Green alone, I could care less. I had options, homie. I could care less. I got options. I had options. Number one running back in the country. And they was recruiting me and gave me a full scholarship my freshman year at Pine Forge to go to Syracuse University. This is during the time where you could go straight to the league. Kobe went straight to the league from the same neighborhoods that I was playing in 1995. I graduated in 1993. And I was better in football than I was in basketball. I could have went to the league in football or basketball. But I came to Pine Forge Academy because that's where my mama wanted me to go. My mama didn't want me to go to our neighborhood high school, Hamilton High School. My mama wanted me to go up there with Dean Green, with Gwen Norwood, because my sister had went up there. So our mothers, Craig Morgan's mama, who died first out of all of our class's mothers, and my mama would have died in 1991 and 1992 if we had got expelled from Pine Forge Academy. That's how deep it was. Dean Green intervened and saved the lives of my mama and Craig Morgan's mama. Craig Morgan's mama had left Trinidad, had left voodoo on Trinidad and Tobago, had left the Roman Catholic lies and deception, which is voodoo and Santeria and magic and witchcraft wrapped in the name of Jesus. She had left all of that. When she started having her 3 children, Debbie, Charlie, and Craig Morgan, she said she was coming to the United States of America to get her babies a chance at the everlasting gospel and everlasting life. And when she got to Brooklyn, the public school system wasn't good enough for her. She said, I don't care if I gotta drive a cab. I don't drive. I don't care if I gotta send a cab 3 hours away to Pine Forge Academy to drop my son off in the school of the Seers. I'll do that. I don't care how many times I gotta send a cab to go pick him up on home leave and bring him back. Whatever the cost, whatever the tuition is, whatever. I'm not sending him to the public schools in Brooklyn. I'm not sending him to the Catholic schools in Brooklyn. I'm not sending him nowhere else but. And it was Dean Green. This same Dean Green who y'all all talking about the Harlem Renaissance and the civil rights movement. Well, the uppity black individuals that lived in the Hill neighborhood of Pittsburgh, the affluent HSBCU going to, bougie, uppity, black clowns, got a Harlem Renaissance going on. What does that mean? That means the bougie, black, upper individuals that got all of the money, they leave poverty, abject poverty for all of the black individuals in the public housing authority. That's what y'all celebrate when y'all celebrate HSBCU and these black clowns. Howard, down in Atlanta. It is uppity, bougie, black individuals that have put a fake screen of Aryan white supremacy in between them and their wealth and the abject poverty that they allow to happen in the slums and the projects right side by side while they partying up in a Harlem Renaissance. When you celebrate black history, you're celebrating the fact that the haves said it's survival of the fittest. Only the strong survive. They used and manipulated white people, so-called white people, so that they can hoard all of the wealth in 3% and leave 97% of the economy living in project tenements and hoods and do you know what Dean Green in the 60s and that hood slum neighborhood did? Manny Jean Louis. Why don't you tell her, Manny Jean Louis? It's called the Freedom House. In the hood and the slums during 1960, our Dean Green and several other individuals, because the police wouldn't even come into the neighborhood when our family in the 60s during y'all Harlem Renaissance, all up on the hill, them black bougie individuals, they got great health care. They got access to the best doctors because they are the doctors. But all of they people in the hood, paddy wagons wait 3 hours and then go show up to a call. A paddy wagon? White police officers respond to medical emergencies. There was no ambulance service. They had hospitals and they knew the people were impoverished. They didn't even expect poor people to get to the hospital. There was no ambulance service. They did not intend for sick people. These are all black doctors. You know what they did in Dean Green's neighborhood? Exactly what we're doing right here. This is a 1.4 acre property of land. My main man, Manny Jean Louis, sent me the documentary on the 25th anniversary of the Freedom House. The Freedom House there was a group of those individuals in that poor community. They got together and they went back to that information that William Floyd put out 100 years before. They like, we don't need the bougie black clowns, and we don't need white America that's faking like they got the knowledge and that they get in from these bougie black doctors like Dr. Benjamin Carson. Gifted hands. Do you know that there was a woman of color who was so light-skinned that they thought she was white? During the same time, she pulls up to right there on on the Seventh-day Adventist campus of CUC, present day, Washington Adventist University in Tacoma Park, Maryland. She pulls up to the Seventh-day Adventist hospital, the same hospital that stole medical treatment from William Foy, a free person of color. Then they gave the health message to a group out in Loma Linda, California, and they're living the health message, but in their hospital, they're pumping poison and death, just like they was pumping in Washington Adventist University Hospital, and that they pump in all of your hospitals right now. How do they give y'all chemicals and poison when they're on plant-based wellness that they got from William Foy? They go home and they're on plant-based. But when you come to the hospital, they don't give you what is extending their life. They give you poison and chemicals. That is a murderer. And so Dean Green and in her community, I'm just telling you the true raw history. Freedom House, like 30 or 40 of them, started doing the same program that we've been doing here since '09. They went and they learned how to do CPR themselves. They went and they started a company and they bought their own trucks. Once they learned how to do CPR and all of that, they started pulling up in the neighborhoods and they started passing out numbers and saying, if y'all sick, call us. Forget them. They were head and shoulders above. This is during the time where they done killed Dr. Martin Luther King. This is during the time where they done killed Malcolm X. This is during the time where they done killed. So it's riots in the community. So the police is scared when people call for medical. There are riots going on because the haves are partying up during the Harlem Renaissance while they're killing all of our leaders who are speaking up and saying, don't send our little poor people out to Vietnam. Don't kill our people. You gonna sign a civil rights bill. And Dr. Martin Luther King said, yo, we coming to get our check. So they killed Dr. Martin Luther King, and the poor people is left without a leader, without a spokesperson, none of that. So the police is scared to go down into the community. It's called Freedom House. It's called Freedom House, Pittsburgh, during the height of the civil rights, where, once again, all of the bougie black upper class doctors and lawyers and all of that got all of the money, the Oprah Winfreys, the Bob Johnsons, the Magic Johnsons of the day. Same exact situation. The Barack and the Michelle Obamas, the Kamala Harrises, the Bushes, the Donald Trumps, all up in New York. The black and the white wealthy individuals have always exploited the people of color, and they have never wanted to share the wealth with the individuals that they rigged. The poverty communities that you stay in, they built the public housing. Listen, they said, we're gonna invest some money in y'all. We're gonna invest in projects for y'all to live in. The only investment we making in y'all is public housing tenements all across the country. Black and white business people have said capitalism means only the strong survive. If y'all are supposed to survive, and y'all gotta come take this wealth. That's what a HSBCU means. So no, Oakwood University is not an HSBCU. Pine Forge and Oakwood have never been a part of that garbage. Dean Green and her people in the hills stood up, created their own. They like, yo, we remember William Foy going around here and teaching us that. And so they were able to create the very first ambulance. And do you know that the state of Pennsylvania came and took it, put it in the biggest white state hospital, and took their whole joint from them? So now in Florida, we coming in the shadow of Advent Health, Advent Hospital. We coming in the shadow of my grandmother Webb's 100th birthday. My grandmother Webb, Evelyn Webb, turned 100 this year, who also wanted me to go to Pine Forge Academy on the 30th year anniversary of when I took my wife this very year home to meet my grandmothers my mom and my family 30 years ago, this same summer, the summer after our freshman year at Oakwood, I'll go to Chicago first, and then I bring Kanisha and her sisters home. This is homecoming. And to honor Dean Green, we are going to build Freedom House, I.T.B Community Mission, the same 50-plus club that Mom Harris and Gwen Norwood, and Mama Beck. My mother brought me up to Pine Forge Academy in 1975 when I was 1 year old. And in 1974 when I was an infant. And Mom Beck was there at Pine Forge Academy in 1974 and 1975. Why would my mom take me up there? Because my Uncle Reggie, my dad's youngest brother, was a freshman in 1974 when I was born. Was a sophomore in 1975. And then his little cousin, Ethel Mason, was a freshman in 1975. Mom Beck and my family have been together all my life. So to you three women, Dean Green is going to get an everlasting monument of health and wellness. Manny Jean Louis has dedicated his life to that health and wellness medical ministry. Mom Harris, Don Howard, and Lois Howard. And so now we are going to build the original William Foy under the I.T.B Community Mission and under the Break the Cycle Lifesavers movement. And we're going to resurrect Dean Green's Freedom House. At Pine Forge Academy, we're going to have a headquarters. At Oakwood University, we're going to have a headquarters. And in each of the cities, like right here in Orlando, Florida, we buying properties and we building. This is a 1.4 acre property that we about to purchase. Mom Harris was down here, created I.T.B Community Mission #1, an extension of that 50-plus club. And we at Break the Cycle, we got a 360-plus yacht club for that medical yacht club that Anna Knight and William Foy started, going up and down the Mississippi River and all around the world. And we're about to resurrect that right here. And y'all can invest and be stockholders and shareholders and help us honor these queens.